Welcome to this week's version of Wink, What Investors Need to Know Now. Thank you for joining me in the bottom of the lion's mouth. Glad you could be here as we round the bend. We've got just a few more weeks here to the end of the year, and today we are talking Santa Claus. You heard it. It's December 13. Why not? So, you're trying to get tidbits from me relative to investments and markets. And right now, December, always the buzz of the year. That is the conversation is, are we going to have a Santa Claus rally or not? And, who knows? But what is the Santa Claus rally? This is something that's been talked about for, goodness gracious, I don't know, decades, since I've been in the business, certainly. It's also another thing we could talk about, which is the January effect. So I've been, bringing to this channel and to this conversation, to the What Investors Need to Know Now conversation, just some little nuances about the market. We've talked earlier this year about sell in May and go away, and how seasonality with the market, that typically November to April is a strong period in the market, and that's proving to be true right now. Here's what I think is important to take away, though. What I think is important to take away is that I and AlphaVest, not that this is a sales pitch, certainly we're here to share with you and grow your knowledge of us and how we think we do well by clients, but we are stock agnostic. And I think that's important to share. What does that mean? What that means is, as I sit here and talk about, sell in May and go away, but November to April is a strong period, you should be investing. And when I want to talk about the Santa Claus rally and, don't miss out. And then when I talk about the January effect, which is a seasonally very strong time to be invested, typically in small caps. All of this really are sound bites to say our vast knowledge here at AlphaVest and how we try to bring a strong foundation to our investment strategies in the core of what we do. We're a committee of 6. We do not just, it's not just me. I'm not the chief cook and bottle washer making all the trade decisions. But we do manage everything here in-house. But what's important to take all of that away is to say that being stock agnostic means we're not pushing investors to say now is the time, buy. Because guess what I believe? I believe that we can make money in even down markets. So even at times when, investing in the stock market is not the place to be, we can actually make money at AlphaVest. And our track record proved that to be true in one of the worst recessions we've had in our 2008 and 2009 market, by way of example. That being said, I do not think we have an 08 coming our way, no time soon. But I thought I'd give you just a few, tidbits and some sound bites here as we round the bend going into Christmas, almost with that feel of the wise men and gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So I thought maybe I'd give you three nuggets, and one of which is talking about the Santa Claus rally. And is that underway? We had a little bit of a head fake with markets over the last week to 10 days to 2 weeks, where we had what I would call a little bit of an exhale. And so how did that feel to you? How did the exhale, how did you fare? I mean, was it, did you trade? Did you get anxious? Were you looking at your account balances? These are things that in a free consult, which I do 20 a week, so you can grab your spot. And we give 15 minutes, and if we need to go longer, we can. But basically, I can talk to you about tendencies and things and frustrations that you may want to change. Are you looking at your account balances when you should be doing something else? Are you really keenly interested in stock selection and picking stocks for your portfolio? So these are things that we can talk about in a consult. But that being said, with this supposed Santa Claus rally underway, it being one of the first tidbits that I wanted to give you, it is known, and we do have data. I'm looking here at the data, but back to as early as 1957, We have data on what's considered the Santa Claus rally, which basically posits that the last trading week of the year is a seasonally strong time to be invested. And that dovetails into the second gift from the wise woman, because I'm not a wise man, of the three gifts that's going to lead into the second gift, which is talking about year-end tax planning. So are you doing it? Is your advisor doing it? Have you looked into culling or selling some of your losses, the stocks or positions that have created losses in the portfolio this year or over time, in order to offset some gains year to date? So that's a little second tidbit. But typically the Santa Claus rally, again, last week of the year, is a seasonally strong time to be invested. It typically yields a little over 1% on average since, say, 1957. Last year, it was also true. Last year, S&P 500 was up a little over 1%, I believe, somewhere in that range. And so why does that happen? It happens typically, the almanac, stock almanac, Trader's Almanac, basically believes that part of this is from the buying and selling at year end for positioning your portfolio well from a tax perspective. So two things to take away from this. I do think we have strong footing for a Santa Claus rally this year. Let's see. Let's look at some of the worst. I'll just tell you. So what's the worst we could see? Let's see. The worst return was in 1999. There was a loss of about 4% that week of the year. More recently, I would say, was 2014 with a loss of just under 3%. So, that being said, this is not something that should really ultimately drive your behavior. All I'm trying to do is share tidbits that might motivate you. Again, this theme I've felt in the past several months is that investors are feeling a little stuck. They're either have had great returns or have not had great returns and missed a big market, and they're feeling like now might not be a good time to make a move. And it's almost like we talked about last week with the best time to plant a tree. If you didn't do it 20 years ago, the best time to plant a tree is today. So I do believe we have a Santa Claus rally underway. Who knows? We could be right. We could be wrong. The best part of that conversation here at AlphaVest is simply that it doesn't matter if we do have a Santa Claus rally or not, because we're going to manage the account for you. It's not something that you really need to be concerned about, but it's something that we know and we watch. And doesn't guide our investment decisions. I just thought it's just a fun tidbit to talk about, as is the January effect, which is typically a seasonally strong time, again, for small caps in the month of January and going into January. So tidbit number 2 is about selling losses in your portfolio to offset gains. Why? That way your tax bill will be lower in April. Let's do it. So you can sell those positions at a loss, and you can buy them back in 31 days if that's what you want to do. And or, what is sometimes a better strategy is to double up on those stocks, depending upon the position, and then selling half of it 31 days later. So that's another strategy you could do. But just suffice it to say that if you haven't looked at the inside holdings of your portfolio, you should do so now, because it's an opportunity for you to take some losses. And it just kind of begs the question too, are these positions stocks that you still want to own? And that we could talk about in a consult as well. Because certainly if you picked up a position this year and you have a loss in it, it was hard to buy those types of stocks in 2021. So it's been a really, really good year in the market. So if that's not true for you, that could be something else we could chat about. And then I haven't delved too much into this, but I'm hearing a lot of chatter and getting messages about inflation. I've been trying to address it in weeks past. I do think it's more appropriate to talk about now, because last week we hit a record inflation rate where it was reported that we hit I believe it was 6.8% in terms of a raise in prices of goods and services to consumers. And that 6.8% is a big number, and that's the highest that we've seen since 1982 per the news outlets. And so, what can I say to you as it relates to your investment portfolio? Not much, okay? However, I do think it's a good conversation in one of my favorite terms that I've coined, which is create your own economy. That's my third gift to you. Create your own economy. Now, for those of you that are feeling, well, how does that help me today with inflation and the fact that I'm on a limited budget and everything's going up, and where do I find more money, and do I need to get a second job, so on and so forth? It's not going to help you with that. What that term, create your own economy, deals with is how you can potentially continue to position yourself better in the future by doing certain things and certain behaviors, like that planting of the tree 20 years ago. And it really just involves, cutting expenses, and that's something that you could do today. I'm interested in, and I just have to give a disclosure, I've not looked at it, but I've been interested in an app called Truebill. Maybe that's one way to weed out all your subscriptions and look at extra costs that your things you're paying for that maybe you're not using. That being said, a better way to create your own economy going forward is little simple fundamental steps, planning steps, such as, number one, let's start at first things first, which is not outspending your income. So being able to actually save and not spending more than you make. So when you save, AKA, again, that Chinese proverb of planting a tree, start saving, put more money in your 401k, put more money in your savings, build up that emergency fund so that you have months and months of reserves to help you when things like this don't go your way. That's what creating your own economy looks like. It looks like when you have no control over certain things with the Federal Reserve or the IRS, or you name it, the stock market going up and down, and or inflation and the cost of gas at the pump. If you have saved for that rainy day, you've created your own economy, and it's not going to affect you as badly as it does when you haven't saved for that rainy day. So creating your own economy looks like many, many things, but that's just sort of one example. So I hope today's three gifts in the spirit of Christmas, like the gold, frankincense, and myrrh, of giving you some encouragement that I do think a Santa Claus rally is underway. I do believe that the last week of the year is going to be positive. A little tidbit about you should be looking at getting rid of some of the losers in your portfolio here at year end, because that will offset the gains that you may have taken this year, and it will lower your tax bill come April. And then lastly, just taking a look at Truebill or other ways that you can create a better economy for yourself, as opposed to being so beholden to that of what is happening around you that you cannot control. So with that being said, thank you for joining us and me for Wink, What Investors Need to Know Now. We are gearing up for what's going to be a very different kickoff in the new year. I would like to talk about Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. The book was published, I want to say after the Great Depression. It was published in the 30s. Actually, I believe it was published after Napoleon Hill died. And it's a classic, and it is talk about creating your own economy that will really put in a huge foundation. But it's very less, it's not as tactical as I've been talking to you about with specific stock picks and things of that nature, because I do want to get true to my roots, and I do want to be super authentic with viewers and share with you that being granular in your stock picks, if that's your thing, that's your thing. However, it's my worldview, of course, because it's my business, that if you're in the business of doing something else, that relying on a professional can certainly free you up to do lots of different things in your life. That being said, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich might resonate to some of you. It's going to be so our conversations with what investors need to know now in 2022 is going to be trending the way of Napoleon Hill. So we hope you'll join us. I hope you'll also join me for 411 Live, which is the birth of Wink, of what investors need to know now. Get on that newsletter. Get on the subscription list. You can do that at cokiebarini.com and or go to alphafest.com. Thanks for joining us. I am wishing you and yours happy holidays. We will see you here again next week. Over and out.